Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my mark making practice. I like to work on mark making when I don't feel up to working on a full-on composition or painting. It's something that helps me to explore my materials and work on my color mixing. I worked on watercolor and pastels this time. I'm also going to be sharing a project that I made in one of my handmade journals. I turned it into a mark making journal, so I'll be sharing with you that and also why I use this process, how it helps me, and the materials that I gravitate toward the most when I'm doing my mark making practice. I wanted to also add that the mark making practice that I do could be helpful to you if you're interested in getting back into art and you haven't done it in a while. It is something that really helps me and it might help you too. So if you're interested in that, you can stick around. Okay, so this is some of the paintings, the mark making paintings that I made. Well, they're not really paintings, but they're just practice. I used, this is mixed media paper, and I used both sides of it. They're just little small practice papers. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them. I might add them to collage papers that I have or put them into another design. At this point, I'm just having fun. That's all it was. I wanted to get back into working with my supplies, and I really didn't feel up to making a painting, so I just decided to play with my materials and work with them and see which ones I was drawn to, what colors that I was drawn to, and what marks I wanted to make and practice making. Now, they're not anything special. Anybody can do it. If you've been feeling like you want to get back into your work or back into practicing your watercolors and things like that, something like this, not color mixing. Color mixing is very helpful, but something that you don't have to mix colors, you don't have to pressure yourself to make anything meaningful or something. It's just something to have fun and work with your materials and explore them. And that's what I decided to do this week. And I have some clips that I will probably share either at the end or over on Instagram. But yeah, I just wanted to show you what I was working on. I was really drawn to the metallics, but mostly I like this darker metallic color. That was really cool to use. I don't think I use it very much because it's almost full. This is the watercolor that I use for the metallics. I'm not sure what company makes it. And I used my other small watercolor container travel set. It has a variety of watercolors in it. So I used that. And I also used these painting sticks. They're water-soluble pastel painting sticks. Pure pigment, light, fast pastel painting sticks for wet and dry painting. I actually ordered these. I thought they were oil pastels, but they're actually, I think they're hard pastels. They make dust, but what I do is I gather up the dust with my watercolor brush or another brush that I'm using. When it makes dust, I put the water right on where the dust lands, and I use that to make marks and to transfer the color to different parts of the page. Now, I did mention that I wanted to share the mark making book that I had made. I made this as a junk journal project, and it's one of those golden book junk journal projects. I put all sorts of different papers in it, and I'll just do a quick flip through it to show you some of the mark making that I did in it. because I didn't want to write in it. So I decided one day that I just picked it up and started making marks in it, just like you see here. And so I'm just going to flip through that real quick. Okay, so back here with the mark making journal that I made. It was in October. Yeah, October. So some of the pages I left just regular, and I made little squiggles and flowers and stuff like that on it. So you can obviously see the storybook page. If you've seen a junk journal before, this is not unfamiliar to you. So anyway, I went through and I used my alcohol markers and different materials to make marks on the pages, and I was trying to just go with the flow and make whatever marks came to my mind at that time that I was sitting down making them. I think it only took me like maybe a week or so to finish it, and it wasn't anything purposeful, or it wasn't anything purposeful. It was just I wanted to practice making patterns and using my materials and doing things that just didn't have to have some strong meaning behind it or for any type of monetary situation. It was just for me to play with my materials. Especially I liked using the alcohol markers because I have them and I hardly use them, but lately I've been using them more, and I like using them. I just, for some reason, I don't gravitate toward them when I'm working on paintings. I mostly use my acrylic inks and drawing inks. I don't use the alcohol markers, but in this book I used the China markers, I think on this page, because it was China marker over acrylic, and that worked really nice. Let's see, and I used a little bit more acrylic ink over here, and you can see it's very simple, nothing too hard or stressful. It was really a good experiment for me because I think that was the first full mark making journal that I made, and it was a really good exercise. And I want to show you a few more examples of the mark making I do. This one's in pencil. I'm not sure if you can see it very well, but you can see I just practiced on that page. Let's see. This page I basically made a grid and practiced in the grid. Let's see. Okay. This one I have some notes, and oh yeah, David Hockney inspired. So it was inspired by another artist in a video that I saw, and this was just a quick sketch and using the different patterns and marks in a sketch. Hopefully that you can see that. Okay. Now what I do with those mark making practices, when I make abstract flowers and floral patterns, I use those marks. That's why I practice them, because I want to try to get some type of memory of, oh yeah, I can use this type of mark, I can use this type of mark, just so that I can make a variety on the page and give it some interest without having to actually add more colors in, because I love to do that, but to use subtle color but with more patterns and marks in the background and in the underneath layers. Okay. And this is an example of mark making in my abstract sketchbook, watercolor sketchbook. I'll do a quick flip of a few of those pages in just a moment. Okay, so I'm back here with this watercolor sketchbook that I made. Now, this was made at a different time, but I just wanted to show you how these practices and different things that I do influence my art. I just wanted to see which way this goes. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. It'll be alright. So I just want to show you how I add those marks to abstract pictures. So I've got this. I'll just show you a few of them. Sometimes I use less and sometimes I use more. This is another practice page. And then I went into this. So you can see how I layer the different marks on top of marks on top of marks to show interest. And this is an example of how I use it in my sketching. Okay, hopefully, I don't know how good the sketch is going to show up, but sorry about that. Let's see. Maybe this one might show up a little bit better. So it's a landscape. It's a landscape, and I add the marks with different colors, and some of them are more subtle, and it just builds up the layers without me having to use lots of bright colors, because I do love bright colors. That's one of my things. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, some people like the bright colors, some people don't. It's okay. But anyway, I wanted to show you some of those abstract art pages too, to show you an example of how I incorporate those practice pages and my mark making journals into my sketches in my sketchbook, and then eventually into paintings that I make on canvas or canvas panel or wood panel or whatever I'm going to be painting on later. So I hope you liked seeing that, how I just go from these practice little papers and my mark making, the journals, and the different types of supplies that I use to make them. And it doesn't have to be just these, but those were the ones that I was gravitating towards this time. So I hope you liked seeing that little walkthrough and part of my process, how I develop different parts of my artwork over time, how it all adds up and how it starts to work together in my finished paintings and things like that. And I just wanted to show you also, because if you want to work on your artwork and you're feeling like you're not sure how to get back into it, maybe this might be something you could do, just to get some scraps of paper like I had here. These were just scraps of paper from another project, offcuts, and I turned them into mark making practice, and then later on I will use those in other projects. So it might be something that you can also do if you're interested. So if you made it this far through all of this, thank you so much for your time and for watching, and I hope you have a great day.